Hey, you there! Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Noxus map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting off with Team 1 in the northwest, ending with Team 2 in the southeast. Starting off with Team 1's eastern player, then going clockwise, we have in forest green, Team 1's Chicken. He is a Cyber for this match as a 1700. To his southwest in Pac-Man yellow, it is Drimmer as an Aeon. He is a 2000 rated player. He is the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall. To his southwest is the UEF player of System Failure. He is in Emerald Green as a 1500. To his north in Chevy Crimson is the Aeon player of I Block Mass. Don't really know if he blocks mass for his opponent or for his teammates or for both. We'll just have to see how his playstyle is. He is a 1400. And last but not least, for Team 1 in Barbie Pink is Balfron. He is a UEF for this match as a 1500. And I think he's actually lightish red pink, not Barbie Pink. So apologies for that. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 UEF, 2 Aeon, 1 Cybern. Team 1 lacks the Seraphim faction. Starting up for Team 2's northern player, they're going clockwise as well. We have in Tropical Ocean Blue, the 1700 rated player of Created in Abyss, and actually matching the nice little detailing in the environment here. He is a Cybern, and again, he is a 1700. To his south, we have in Royal Blue is RNA as an Aeon. He is a 1500. And next door to him is another Aeon for Team 2. It is Mythologist in Amethyst Purple, also a 1500. To his west, we have another Aeon for Team 2 is Tantal in Snow White as a 1700. And last but not least for Team 2 in Orange Scarlet Orange as a Cybrid, it is Storm Lantern. He is a 1900. He is the highest rated player on Team 2. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 3 Aeons, 2 Cybrins, no Seraphim, no UEF for Team 2, which means for the entirety of this match, there are no Seraphim players. Apologies to those who arrived late, but love to make grand entrances. Hopefully you enjoy the game nonetheless. And for these 10 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have to scoop up. Currently sitting at 33,000 mass in reclaim, which means it is 3.3k mass per player. And there is a decent amount of it scattered around, but there are huge pockets. 4,000 right here, another 3,000 on each side right here, another 3,000 right here, and another 3,000 or so, 2,700, whatever the math ends up being, because it's a little bit spread out with how they calculate the clumping together of those wrecks. And that is a lot of mass and reclaim. There is a decent amount of mexes to grab as well, a huge chunk of them on this lower section of the map here. It can be accessed via this northeastern entrance, and that is the only way land-wise to get there unless somebody distance builds or transports units down there or teleport. You can teleport. Would you teleport down there? Probably not, but you could do that. There's a large clumping of mass points there. Quad mex position here in the southwest-ish or so for Tantal. Looking at Team 2 side of the map overall, another 2 quad mexes here in the northeast. Besides that, there's really no middle mexes to fight over. Maybe these 2 would be the other 2 that players will definitely fight over, but I can definitely see Team 1 grabbing this, Team 2 grabbing this, and being perfectly fine with that. Of course, not UEF, but comms are inbound, and there is, of course, a UEF. Speaking of which, System Failures over here getting a nice little T1 land facility online. And with that out of the way, let's take a look how our players are starting to spread themselves out around the map. It's looking like a 2v1 in favor of Team 2 on this northeastern side. We see that RNA is moving his way that way. In the middle, it's 3v3 so far, but looking like there's another player for Team 1, Balfron, moving in. So it's going to be 4v3 for Team 1 in the south. Well, actually, not even southwest. The middle of the map. There is no sneaky little maneuvers unless you have any transports, essentially for the southwestern corner entirely. So the main comm action will occur essentially in the middle and the northeast. We might see that right now. Nice little Mantis escorting the comm of Chicken. Created in Abyss going for a T1 PD emplacement. He will probably finish that before the comm comes into range. It has been completed, and in the west, comm action is soon upon us in this game. I think this corner, this corner does, actually no, maybe not. Creating Abyss does not receive any damage, so that was just shooting at the PD, but the first comm action has now occurred between I Block Mass and Team 2 Storm Lantern. Drimmer scooping up mass, Mythologist moving into try to deter him from doing that, and Tal moving in as well. So out of the 10 players on the map, so far there are 6 of the 10 of them just right here in the middle. 1 is on their way to the middle, and of course the 3 remaining are over here to the northeast. Interesting placement here of a nice little radar system and PD emplacement to secure the reclaim over here. It doesn't look like there's any effort from either team besides RNA for going with that. I do love the fact that there is a radar system here to give a little bit of intel. Granted, it doesn't do a lot in terms of what it can see, but, you know, when stuff does clip just barely, you can get a nice little signature from there. So it's not terrible. Once it gets to T2, that's going to be a great placement of there. Lots of units trying to surround Storm Lantern's position. We do see system failure focusing on the comm. Lots of Team 1 assistance from Storm Lantern to just deter the pathfinding for system failure. Storm Lantern not feeling good, almost about the 2,000 hit point mark. It does look like 10 Tau is going to try to body block him with a nice little Team 1 land facility. Nice placement there. It does deter the pathfinding. Eye blocked mass is helping Drimmer push back Mythologist, but Mythologist doesn't care. He's shoving forward. So it looks like Team 2's commanders are going to the lower section of the map down here, while Team 1 is claiming the upper section of the map, which means Team 2, the only way those comms can come back to their main territory is, again, transports or teleporting. I highly doubt teleporting will be on the menu, so transports are really the only way to get them out of there. Drimmer focusing on Mast, of course. He is going for a nice little T2 land facility. T2 air is online for Team 1 and not for Team 2. I don't see T2 air facility online for anybody as of yet. So Team 1 is ahead in that game. Gun speed and range has been started for Creating Abyss in the northeast. A little bit of some more throwing units to the northeastern corner. It does look like RNA is going to be able to grab this quad mix position as well. Not Mantis, but Team 1 engineers have landed, and Mantis are trying to deter it. It does look like that PD, just barely doesn't finish. Very unfortunate. The PD may have survived, but, I mean, it was essentially very, very close. Probably one more engineer for maybe about 2 more seconds would have been fine. T1 Aurora escorting these Furfurs, moving in to take out this position for RNA. He scooped up most of the mass there, but he's going to keep his radar. Gun, and speed, not speed, but stealth on the way here for Storm Lantern, 10 Tail, and for Mythologist. One going for speed, one going for range, and they'll probably flip those upgrades here shortly. The one going for speed, one going for range, essentially, and then maybe Gun for Storm. Team 1's comms have fallen back to a little bit further back the ramp here, so Team 2 can try to sneak on by. I highly doubt they're going to do that as of right now. Gun has been started on board Eye Block Mass's commander, and no other upgrades have been started as of yet for Team 1. Stealth is coming online here for Creating Abyss in the northeast, and again, very narrow environment, literally a single file line. A little bit more breathing room up here to the northeast, but it's just kind of out of the way. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe an experimental goes that way and then a column of units go down this way, or vice versa. So we'll just have to see how our players end up playing that section of the map. And yes, the speed and the range upgrades have flipped. They are the Aeon commanders, of course. They need that speed and the range upgrades. Unless you're going for the sensor package and the range, which could be beneficial in this scenario, but with 4 commanders here, definitely the speed is a little bit more important. Of course, this is what Team 2 can see, and this is what Team 1 can see. So they kind of know where everybody is, but not entirely. We do see Battlefront pushing in against the Team 1 emplacement. He should be perfectly fine. Overcharge kicks out most of the hit points. A couple more shots will relieve that PD of its life. Still, no 2v1 action has really occurred as of yet here, just because the narrow neck of environment up here and just kind of a dead zone up here to the northeast. We do see that Creating Abyss is pushing in. T1 PD has been established. T2 now coming online. Chicken has no upgrades. Creating Abyss has Gun and Stealth. Overcharge takes out most of the hit points, and now there goes that PD emplacement. And we do see that Chicken in Chicken and Abyss, but Creating Abyss taking out the engineers. The Cerberus has been stopped, and all of those units flood in from Creating Abyss. Do we see any movement as of yet? No, except for Team 2 grabbing the southwestern corner. And back to here, Chicken being a little bit overwhelmed, and that's mainly just been driven by the comm having the gun speed and range upgrades. There are a lot of hoplites over here, so a little bit more range on board those units, but they are, of course, significantly weaker than normal T2 tanks. Missiles are outbound from Vipers. Thought it was an actual like tactical missile, but it was just one of the mobile units. Chicken is not feeling super good, but Created Abyss is not as well. There was only a not even a 2,000 mass difference, a 2,000 hit point difference, which means if one comm went up, the other one was going to go up as well. We do see an attack has commenced once again, and that is, I mean, not. Oh, there goes Team 1's player of iBlock Mass. Killed off by Storm Lantern, assisted by Mythologist, or vice versa, depending on who did most of the damage. I was just going to get a nice little wide shot there, but I didn't realize that he was that far down. It just looks like the 2 gun upgraded commanders just blitzed him down. Mythologist not feeling super good, though. In the red, should be back up in the yellow here shortly. And there he goes. Tantal pushing him with a advanced range and speed upgrade. Same thing with Mythologist. That's probably how Team 2 was able to blitz down that comm. The first kill of the game at 11 minutes goes to Team 2. It is now a 4v5 in favor of the Southeastern team of Team 2. We do see that Tantal with that Aeon Cyber Commander pushing in. T2PD being established by German to just deter the incoming advancements. And now in the middle, the comm numbers have now evened out. We do see Mythologist is retreating. He's going to go for maybe a little bit of reclaim, but I don't see him maybe engaging for the period of time. He might just go back to base. Maybe he'll go for a shield upgrade. That would be my guess, but probably get back to base first and then go for that. T3 air is online for RNA. T2 air online for Mythologist as well. So 2 potential air players for Team 2. Team 1, similar situation here, and of course with a double base here for Drimmer. He's going to be scaling to that T3, and yes, he is. So 2 air players for Team 1 is confirmed. And specifically how the map is laid out, having an additional air player would be very nice, even if it's just T2, T3 gunship sort of thing, just to kind of poke and prod at a couple of outlying mexes, because the land is going to be landlocked, for lack of a better word, especially in the northeast. The main avenue of attack is straight down the middle, and this is just going to probably turn into a slogfest as the game progresses, so no real crazy scenarios are going to happen with 20 experimentals running around the map. It's just very confined environments, which those games are always fun to watch with, just again 20 experimentals running around the map shooting at one another. Very fun, very engaging cast, of course. But with the restrictions on land movement, it will make the game a little bit slower in the land, but of course will progress air very quickly. As if you're landlocked, you might as well go for air. There's no navy. There's a little bit of water, but no navy. No big pond or small pond, big boat in this game. Nope. You do see in the northeast again, still landlocked. Not really going much of the way for either team. Just kind of hanging out a couple of zappers to protect mechs investments. Of course, there are a couple of those Vipers just, again, being a little bit annoying, but nothing too crazy. Chrono Dampener online for Tantal. So he's going for more of a in-your-face action. You can see the burst on that is pretty wide. Unfortunately, it is the red. I don't know if it goes all the way to the exterior red circle. It kind of looks like it does, so maybe. I feel like for some reason it only goes to the middle ring, but it does look like it goes all the way far out. System failure is being targeted because he is severely weakened. He does have T2 tech and gun on board. No veterancy as of yet, so only those 14,000 total hit points. Drimmer does have shield, speed, and T2, and is essentially being not driven back, but kind of held back by these 2 comms for Storm and Tantal. Both of them gaining veterancy very, very quickly here. Tantal at 1, Storm at 2. And that constant EMPing that's going on, it doesn't affect the comms, of course, but all these Team 1 units not able to fire, not able to engage, and essentially stuck. You can see that move to push in got completely denied, and all of that juicy veterancy goes to Team 2. And granted, Team 1 can gain that as well, but all those units died, not really getting a lot of damage on the comms. We do see that Team 1's Battlefront is up here going for, again, T2 Engineering Suite. Nothing too crazy. Looks like he might just grab the rest of that reclaim up there. That does exist, but there's not that much up there. Do see that Mythologist has come back. He has gotten that shield upgrade on board. It is the first of 2, because he can go for the shield heavy. It is not heavy shield. Don't know why it's not shield heavy or heavy shield. See, I even confused myself by saying it the correct way. I don't know why it just can't be called heavy shield and be done with it, just so that, I don't know. My brain, it makes more sense that way, but that's could just be English versus whatever language. Because in Spanish, there are instances where the adjectives are after the word or the noun instead of before, like it is in English. But that, again, I don't know why the developers coded it that way. They just did. Lots of Obsidian T2 heavy tanks up here. And it would act as a nice distraction. Unfortunately, there's really nothing that Team 1 else has left, which means that distraction is just going the way of the dodo bird. It's not really going anywhere. But interestingly enough, units are actually able to go all the way around this little narrow neck. And this is proving going to be a little bit more annoying for Team 2 to deal with. We have nothing to defend here from Created in Abyss. And you see even engaged with this group of units over here. There was a nice attempted run by, but T3 Loyalists, assisted by a lot of Rhinos, those Mantis and other units are not going to go anywhere. But that mech will be taken offline. There it goes. Another mech's going to be taken offline. A nice little crystalline rock face there. It does look like they can continue down this way and cut off any sort of engineering reinforcements, or they can go this way. ASF over the top, deal with a transport inbound from Team 1's Chicken with a brick on board. It gets denied. Loyalist over here going to deal with those Obsidians, and they do turn around another one inbound. So again, T2 mechs is taken offline, definitely worth the cost of a couple of Obsidians, but that way will definitely be plugged very shortly. At least that would be the hope. In the west, lots of missile launchers going after a couple of zappers. We even see some volcanoes being added to the mix. I love the combination of these because the volcanoes can grab multiple missiles at a time, while the zappers can, well, zap, and they have a decent range on them as well. So it's a nice little, again, 1-2 punch where the zapper takes out an individual missile while the volcano can take out multiple of them. And what's interestingly enough is that zapper can actually shoot the missile that's already been grabbed, so that could be a detriment when there's a ton of missiles to be fired at. But it's not a huge issue. It just depends on, again, how many missiles are being fired and how many Team D have been built. Transport over here from Battlefront to scoop up the remaining wrecks of Mythologist's frontline position. It was an attempt, but due to the lack of reinforcements and supply line, it kind of just fell to the wayside. But again, it was a nice attempt. It was a distraction. It was something. Provides a little bit of moving parts for Team 2. It's not just super stagnant, and everybody gets kind of entrenched in their trench warfare essentially. No real advancements from Team 2 or Team 1. A little bit poking and prodding, but nothing too crazy. Essentially, lines have been drawn in the proverbial sand, if this is sand, whatever the heck this environment is made out of. Maybe ash. Could be ash. I don't know. I have no idea what you would call this ground, because we have desert, and we have forest, and we have plains, and we have ocean, a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't know what you would call this kind of environment. In the northeast, units are being built up once again, but again, the geological or geographical issues in terms of the environment make it very difficult for large groups of units to really traverse. You could probably fit a crab down there, but that's the only thing you could fit down there at a time. Essentially single file line. So yeah, I just don't know how both of our teams are going to deal with this kind of annoyance. There are a couple of trebuchets inbound. Team 2 doesn't have any shields, so that could prove very annoying, but I don't think Team 2 will have to worry about that too much, just due to the fact that those units are kind of just stuck in that valley. Looks like they're targeting the T2 mexes, so if Created is not focusing on this, he could have a huge issue with more and more trebuchets coming offline, and Chicken moving back to this position. And there is not really a whole lot of defense going on here. A couple of shields are being built, but a little bit too late in that regard. That's going to be essentially a constant flow of artillery shells, making it very difficult to build any sort of defense for that grid. We do see in the middle a little bit more poking and prodding here for Team 2. A couple of artillery pieces. Miasma, very, very great T2 artillery in my opinion. They have that little, again, the miasma that sits there and just acts as nice little acid. A lingering spell, or a lingering potion, I guess, in terms of the Minecraft world. Created an Abyss pushing in, has 1-star veterancy. A couple of tickle cannons online, but again, couple of tickle cannons are not enough to deal with most things, so that's going to run over this position quite easily for Team 2. In the middle, an attack has commenced once again. Lots of PD have been built, but not too much, and Drimmer is going to be forced to retreat. He got his shield back up, his hit points back up, system failures back up to full health, but Team 2 is overwhelming Team 1 at this point. Large group of T1, T2 units, obviously augmented by T3 mainline units in the Harbinger department and a couple of asylums. It looks like they're completely ignoring system failure and going after Drimmer, seeing him as the more bigger threat, which, again, 2,000 rated player, that's definitely a good thing to go for. But Drimmer going to get on a transport. The transport is being shot at, gets in the air, and gets the heck out of there. Great job there by Drimmer. Very risky. Had Team 2's ASF come in, he'd be a dead calm. But it looks like Team 2's ASFs are sitting over here in the northeastern corner. Huge move, though. Unfortunately, due to the fact that Drimmer has now vacated the scene, system failure is now the new target, and I don't know if he's going to have the same situation happen to him. Where'd that transport go? Get a new transport or something to help out. That might be a dead calm in the northeast. Does look like Creating an Abyss's attack has slowly been pushed back, but he has taken out a couple of mexes, so it's not an entire loss. System failure just trying to get out of dodge here. There's a couple Harbingers still here for Team 2. So there's a couple of them inbound for Drimmer and a Percy inbound for system failure, which in this case I feel like a Titan would be more effective because there's a lot of things to shoot at. But system failure will get out of there. Looks like Team 2 will let him go for the time being. Well, no, he's pushing back. Okay, never mind. I thought he was going to retreat entirely. Looks, just cannot decide what he wants to do. And again, it's a gun and T3 upgrade versus a nano and gun with 4-star veterancy. There are some Percys, though. That is to be taken into consideration quite heavily. And those hit points on Storm Lantern's commander might just fade very quickly. Overcharge takes out one of the Percys and half the HP off the other one. Will he get to 5-star veterancy? I don't think so. He's dropping into the red. If he gets one more kill on a Harbinger, yep, there he is. He's back up into the yellow. We have some T2 artillery inbound, or T3 artillery. Was that T3 artillery? No, it's T3 artillery in the mobile department. Storm Lantern gets out of there, so both players being very risky, but they don't die in either case, so they'll be happy, and their teammates will be happy. The gunships inbound for Created an Abyss's commander. They are T2, so Flak can't deal with them quite nicely, but there are some bricks nearby. Created an Abyss is not feeling super good. Drops pretty quickly. Bricks, they could have stayed and probably taken that comm out. Gunships trying to move in and out of AA coverage from Team 2's Created an Abyss. Flak, of course, being targeted before it can really fire any sets of volleys. ASFs are inbound, coming from essentially at me from the southern side. ASFs are inbound. It might be the death of system. Yep, there we go. Not system, but Created an Abyss. And a lot of ASFs dead because of that explosion, mainly from Team 2, which means now it is a 4v4 tied-up game here at 23, almost 24 minutes. Strat Bomber over top for Team 2's Mythologist going after system failure. Good thing I caught that at the last second. Looks like Mythologist came in and just threw everything he had in the kitchen sink at Team 1's system failure and got the kill on him. They were, again, both him and Storm Lantern were very weak. It looks like with the advanced range upgrade on board plus the bomber, that was enough to end the life of system failure. So I was going to say it's a 4v4 tied-up game, but it is not anymore. It is a 4v3 in favor of Team 2 still. And at 24 minutes on the clock, like I said, Team 1 has lost 2 players, being system failure just recently and I Block Mass. First casualty of the game. Team 2 has lost Created an Abyss, making this a 4v3. Team 1's mass income 840, 880 is what I saw. Constantly fluctuating numbers. Of course, Team 2 roughly at 1,000, so we'll call it 150 in favor of Team 2 to make the math easier for my head and just for me to track and whatnot. Everything being transferred over to RNA, it looks like. Man, he got a lot of stuff. Oh, maybe that was a mistake. It was possibly a mistake. Storm Lantern probably gave everything over and went, no, give me that stuff back. Anyway, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you so very much for watching as we continue to cover this game and the joy that it is to be able to do this each and every day. Thank you so very much for continuing to watch my ramblings. That is my casting. Missile out. Oh, no, that's going to not go anywhere. Never mind. In the east, though, Team 1's Chicken has pushed in quite heavily, taking out 2 Quantum X positions. and have forced Team 2 back to the main base that once belonged to Created. T3 bricks being established to try to defend against the incoming bricks from Team 1. But there are a decent amount more of them for Team 1, and there are some tickle cannons, which, again, as we've stated, they're not great, but it's better than nothing. Luckily, that was a nice little reclaim effort here from RNA's engineers, because that would have been an explosion and killed off a couple of other engineers in the process. T2 PD being established back here for RNA, so even if this base doesn't do super great, there's a new defensive line that Team 2 can hide behind. I do like that. Again, layered defenses. It's really hard to build up here when there's incoming units, so if you can hold off and build a support line, you can push back in and secure it. So even if it is taken out, it's not a terrible loss. It's not a great loss. It's not a good loss, but it's better than nothing. Lots of these Oblivion PD emplacements. I think there's a little bit of an AoE, so putting the units right close to one another is actually a detriment. I don't know how much of an AoE. I think it's a tiny bit. I don't know if the full splash is the actual AoE or not. I don't think it is. I think that just might be an effect, but that could just be me reading into things too much. Anyway, in the middle of the map, Team 2 has heavily claimed this position, and Storm Lantern getting some artillery emplacements online with all these engineer presets. It's very interesting. Couple of shields, 2 artillery, and a stealth field generator. We do see Storm Lantern is not doing super great in the hit point department now, due to Percy's being the essentially now new mainline unit for Drimmer. He's still producing his Aeon Harbingers, but the Percys, of course, do massive amounts of damage in general, so they're very useful against high HP units, being the Comm and the Experimentals and other Percys. They're also good against other Percys and other T3 units, of course. Tantal being an Aeon, has he produced a Colossus? Yes, it's over here. I didn't think it'd be built there, but it's built there. First experimental, I think, on the cards here for the entirety of the game. I would presume... Oh, nope, there's one being built right here, but it's not done yet. And large air grids for both Drimmer and for Battlefront. So again, having that 2 air player synergy might be the thing that wins Team 1 the game. Crab being built in the north for Chicken. And nothing big yet. RNA getting a very interesting grid. Nice little, I don't know what you would call this, sideways S, or interesting. Yeah, I guess it would be a sideways S. And again, this prevents cascading because it's not a huge block. There will be a little bit of overflow damage, of course, just because this one does a little bit of damage to this one kind of thing. But it's not going to be boom, 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 boom. It's going to be very segmented out. So really, really love the pattern there. And he spread it out. The only downside is covering that thing with shields is a pain. But he could easily place a couple of shields, at least on the edges and then in these corners as well, just to maximize coverage with minimal amount of shield coverage. Which, again, you don't want to do minimum. You want to do maximum, which maximum is infinite. You can never build enough shields. I will never, ever stop saying that, because you always need more shields. Unless you have no SMD and there's a nuke, then it doesn't matter how many shields you have. That is a dead emplacement. 2 Colossi online here for Tantal. Makes me think that Mythologist maybe donated one of his over. He is building one as we speak. He has his own air grid. He's going for Quantum Gateway as we speak to get his eco up and running with those SACU RASCOMs. There are no Seraphim in this game, which means every player has access to SACU RASCOMs. The Seraphim don't have RASCOMs, but they do if you're playing Phantom, because that's just kind of an unfair advantage. And nothing really super exciting happening here for either team. Again, couple of Colossi building in the middle of the map. Nothing too crazy in that regard. Team 1 does have a chicken being built for... Sorry, Crab being built by Chicken. Every time I cast him, I always want to say Chicken is producing chickens, but he never plays Seraphim, so I cannot say that. In the east, nice little artillery unit online. That's Miasma, very, very close to that Trebuchet. Just barely misses. There are some shield emplacements now, so no crazy issues here for Team 2. Again, it looks like an attack is starting to brew here for Team 1. Lots of AA and, of course, the Percys. We do see a couple of shield units as well. 1 Colossus versus 2, obviously going to favor Team 2. Team 2 does not have a UEF, which means they don't have Percys, which they're probably wishing that they did now. And there's a lot of gunships stacking up here for Team 1's Drimmer. We could see a snipe attempt. I highly doubt it. I mean, they could go for Storm Lantern, who's in the middle, but he is going back to the pond over there. He's going to be constantly moving back and forth. So he's not going to be easily sniped. Again, 30 minutes on the clock. Usually players go back about 20 or so minutes, so a little bit later than normal, but nothing too crazy. He probably would have been killed by those gunships had Drimmer released them, but there's no way that Team 1 would have known. Well, they know the comms there now, but I don't know if, yeah, they can't see them. So not really a huge issue there of not taking the shot because they didn't even know the shot existed. Lots of mobile artillery here for Chicken, still stacking up, but again, they need to get in range of the base, which they've done a little bit of damage to it, but nothing too system critical. There's now T2 counter artillery as well, so it's kind of just a moot point at that point. SMD is coming online. Would love to see one right here, but I don't know if they'll build one that far forward. There is an Omni over here, which gives tons of intel for Team 2. Team 1 could easily place one up here as well. Tantal builds another experimental. There's another Colossus. So there's what, 3 of them? 4 of them? 3 of them so far here for Team 2. We could see an attack, but it just depends on how much pressure Team 2 wants to put. Another experimental is done. That is number 4 for Team 2. There's also, of course, one over here. Another one being built as well. And it's going to be a slogfest once it happens, so it's going to be very much a slow engagement. But again, one Colossus with a lot of T3 support is inbound from Drimmer. Now, the only issue, of course, is if Team 2 brings all 4 Colossi to bear, that might be a huge problem. We do see that those 2 were moving north, but decided to intercept, and that other one is inbound with the other one, I think, from Mythologist actually moving northward to assist. So it's going to be a 3v2 affair, actually. Team 1's Drimmer brings in another Colossus. So it is a 3v2 Colossi affair. But it looks like Team 1 tried to instigate Team 2. Team 2 is like, nah, go away. And Team 1 says, okay, fine. Third GC started his for I block mass. No real big, huge issues for either team as of yet. Do we see any big ticket items here for Team 1? Lots of AA. Love to see that. And satellites haven't started here for Battlefront. He is UEF, so that's kind of part of the trade. And we do see Megalith has been started once again. And, of course, huge staging area over here. Tons of bombers. So most likely trying to just eradicate the shield coverage. But third Colossi, fourth Colossi, not great for Team 1's land forces. There actually aren't that many. The crab is the really only thing augmenting these forces. Without that, those Colossi would run over that position very easily. Speaking of big ticket items, nothing hugely for Team 2. Another Colossus. Artillery, that has been thought about. We'll see if that actually gets finished, but it has been thought about. And Shield Grid has started to emerge here for RNA. So again, I don't know if Team 2 knows about the satellites. They do know about the satellite. They can see it. So they're probably trying to cover their bases in that regard. Colossi, have started to push in. Team 1 either engages or continues to retreat. If they lose up to here, it's not too bad. If they get into the air grid, that's definitely going to be not a good feeling here for Team 1, especially with the satellite up there. I don't think they'll get that far because there's, again, shorter supply lines when you attack, when you defend versus when you attack. Looks like one Colossus veers west, the other 2 go north, so the 2 Colossi will intercept the 1, leaving these other 2 to engage this way. There's another Colossus about to stand up, so that might be the saving grace here for Team 1. That Colossus is not doing great at targeting the other Colossi. We do see the T2 gunships inbound are ripping apart the HP on board that first one. And that new Colossus is off the assembly line. Lots of T1 PD, lots of Perseus ripping apart these hit points. They are not going anywhere. Lovely attempt, though, from Team 2. Just did not go anywhere. And none of the Colossi fall for Team 1. A huge amount of reclaim to grab. There are still some T3 units down here for Team 2, but there's not that much remaining. And that is a huge loss. That has got to hurt. And, of course, that's just reclaim for Team 1. Total mass and reclaim on the field, 100,000 mass. Essentially all of it is on Team 1's side of the map. It's in their front door. It's sitting there on the, it's not even on the porch, it is in the front door. It's just right behind it. It's closed, really easy to grab. Don't have to go outside, don't have to put pants on or any of that sort of thing. But 4 Colossi down the eastern side, though. Megalith in full retreat. All the other units going the shortcut way through here. T1 bombers trying to deter the gunship. So while Team 2 loses the attempt in the middle, they're winning the attempt in the east. The only problem, of course, is this is the main concern. Satellites and 2 air grids. Going down the eastern side just gives a lot of time for Team 1 to rebuff Team 2's attempts to move in. We have seen some air engagements, but it looks like not a great engagement, though, for Team 2's Mythologist at ASF, but looks like he just wanted to get them under AA coverage, which, I mean, it's fine. We did see Drimmer not send all of his ASFs in, so that was probably a good idea there, because that would have been a slaughter fest. Problem, says Storm Lantern. Yeah, 3 Colossi down the middle is kind of a problem, but I don't think it's actually a big of a problem as they think it is. I mean, it is 3 Colossi, to be fair. But if they get some PD and T2 artillery online, which they are currently doing, it should be not that bad of a problem to remedy. Air grid has been shot to bits here by those satellites from Team 1's Battlefront. And we do see a possible artillery attempt, but it looks like it got instantly denied. And more shields trying to be built, but Storm Lantern's just having trouble keeping the shields and the lights online, essentially. Air grid is mostly covered. More shields are being built as we speak, which the rest of those will provide enough coverage. And laser has been done. Stealth has been started here for Chicken. Looks like he's going the cloaking route, but maybe he just wants to build stealth, and then maybe he'll transition to teleportation after that. And again, that crab has made it out of dodge. Actually, no, excuse me. That's a dead crab. That's a new crab. So never mind. T3 Mex is going offline. That's always a bad day. Team 2, 1.9k mass income. Team 1, 1.3. And that number is going to fade as more Mex is being taken offline. We do see that for Team 2, the middle of the map has been chewed away quite significantly. The Colossi are now stuck down there. And this is a great position for Team 2 to be in. Of course, they have the high ground, which isn't a huge tactical advantage, but again, it's nice to always have the high ground. Units trying to prevent the escape of the Colossi, but there are 2 Colossi inbound for Team 2. One is 1-star veterancy, one is 1, one is 2. Almost perfectly fine, mostly fine, not super great. But it looks like Team 2 is trying to go Team 1's Colossi to intercept theirs. And they're just going back and forth, which means every odd shot or so does land from that artillery. Lots of spam fervors inbound from Tantal just to be annoying. Battlefront builds another satellite. That is number 3, and Nuke has been started by him as well. 38 minutes on the clock here. And now not satellite, but artillery has been started, the Emissary class. Lots of ASFs, of course, guarding any sort of approach from Team 2. And Team 2 is stacking units up in the northeast. We're sending a Colossus down the middle. And they're sending 4 down this way against 2 crabs. That might kill. Oh my goodness. Now this is ridiculous. That is. They're all. That is just looking nasty. Look at that. Look at that array of T1 bombers from RNA. That is just an obsessive amount. 343 ASFs. Guilty Spark will be proud about this moment. If anybody gets that reference, please let me know down in the comments. But that is a heck of a lot more than I expected. ASFs, of course, trying to protect the gunships down here, which they're doing a great job of that. But the ASFs for Team 2 are just sitting right there. First Colossus is down, and those bombers have been given the orders to engage. I just want to give everybody a nice little view on this. This is just an excessive amount of bombers. You can't even. They're going up. They're going down because of the environment. Look at that. Look at that nonsense from Team 2. And that is just. Oh, look at that. We're going to have to go up and around. Everything is gone in that little base there here for Chicken. Colossus is down. But there's, of course, 4 more remaining. That is just so many. So many. And how many remain after that incursion? 240. So 100 of them died. But again, they died in service of a greater cause. Another crab has been built. The cloaking is now online. Does Team 2 see him? No, they do not, which means that chicken might get a bunch of mass kill just for his comm. He has no veterancy yet, so that crab will kill a chicken all on its own. Well, barely. It helps a little bit. And maybe if RNA is paying attention, he'll notice the cloaking commander. But if the bombers are able to hit him, that's going to not be great. Oh, ground firing might be enough. Oh, needs to re-aim. Oh, he's not doing great in hit point count. Oh, one Colossus is down. 2 more remain. Oh, overcharging goes down. RNA, if you're paying attention, he's almost dead. He's not dead yet. He might get some veterancy back and get a ton of hit points after this. Ooh, gets another veterancy. 33,000 hit points. Crab is still alive somehow. Team 1 bombers are inbound. There is some AA nearby. And looks like ground firing has occurred. Chicken, you got to avoid that. I think Team 2 might see him. Maybe. No, they don't. Oh, they see him just barely. There he is. Bombers are coming in for a second pass. Oh, he comes out of view. Oh, the bombers lose their target, which means they actually don't drop a payload. Oh, some of them do. Oh, he's somehow not dead. Look at that. 200 hit points remain. 200 hit points remain. Of course, other stuff is happening around the map. But look at this. Chicken is somehow not dead. How is he not dead? I don't even know. And I can slow down the replay. That is insane. That is very, very close. Chicken must be really just... His heart's going boom, 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 boom right now. 3 of the 4 commanders for Team 2 are in the water. So if a nuke strikes there, that would not be good for Team 2. We do see another SMD. Another artillery has been started. Artillery has been finished for Mythologist. I wonder what its target's going to be. Random brick is random. I don't know how that got there, but it got there somehow. And it looks like that Ravager group is going to take that out quite nicely, though. Was targeting the satellites, of course. Nuke has been finished. A second nuke has been finished. Neither of them have been loaded. And maybe first major air fight so far. Ooh. Team 1 just might. Nope. And Chicken's like, well, I'm just going to continue to walk forward because it worked the first time. Crab is severely wounded. It would be an interesting... Is he being crushed by his own crab? That's kind of what that looked like. I might be wrong, but that's kind of what that looked like. Anyway, that is very weird. I don't know. Can that actually be a thing? Can you crush yourself with your own experimental? That would be an interesting thing to let me know down in the comments. I don't know, but that's what it looked like. He was losing hit points, maybe from some T1 artillery shots from those Medusa. Maybe that's what that was, but it looked like, probably wasn't, but it definitely looked like he was being crushed by his own crab. Looks like the Team 2 artillery emplacement doesn't have a target yet. At least a concentrated target. They may be going after the air grid for Drimmer, which, I mean, if they go for either air grid, it's fine, but the satellites is kind of the more worrisome thing. Team 1's mass income has now dropped below 1,000. Team 2, 1.5k. So both teams have lost mass income, but Team 1 has lost a considerable amount more. Huge amount of ASFs. They look like structures at this point. 315 versus maybe 250, 300. 200, and then plus maybe 75 or so from Drimmer. 50. So 250 versus, it's a pretty comparable amount. More and more Colossi being built. Team 2 needs another Omni somewhere, because that comm's going to be annoying to deal with. And we see some... Oh, those are Team 1's spy planes. Never mind. And of course, as a reminder, the Colossi do not have Omni. None of the experimental land units have Omni on board. The only experimental that has Omni that I can think of is the satellite, and I think the donut does too. I might be mistaken on the donut, but I think the donut does. But the satellites for sure. I mean, we can check right now, of course, but they have Omni on board. Second artillery emplacement is online. Third one has now been thought about here for Storm Lantern. Is that I was like, don't tell me that's T3 artillery striking it. But it looks like the artillery has now focused on the satellites. One of them is now down. The nukes are vulnerable. There is an SMD loaded. Neither of those nukes have been loaded as of yet. Artillery strikes to the east. Shield comes back online. But, of course, a third of the firepower has been taken offline. And we see a little bit of shield creep to help assist with the mexes. Look at all these mexes taken offline. Team 2 still at 1.92k mass income. Shield has been taken offline, but again, that's a chunk of shields to chew through, so nothing too crazy for Team 2 to really worry about at this moment. Team 1 have to have a game ender being built somewhere to really be that worrisome, which I don't see anything as of yet. They could be hiding something, but I highly doubt it. Fat Boy has been started by Drimmer. Don't know how much that effect it's going to have. Looks like a second satellite has been taken out, so 2/3 of the satellites are now gone. But man, Chicken somehow surviving the bombers plus Colossi thing was nuts. That's probably a highlight of the game, probably, is just that. The fact that he just didn't die. No, it's going to hit that... oh, it doesn't actually hit the P-Gen, luckily enough, here for Team 1. But they're kind of in an interesting scenario. Oh, here we go. Here's a UFO. No, it does not have Omni. So I think the only experimental that has Omni is the satellite. Don't know why. I mean, maybe it's a vision thing. I don't know. It has radar, so maybe it just gave it radar and Omni and be done with it, but I don't know. Don't know what the logic behind that is. And the satellite is not doing super good. The shield is offline, and it suffers some hit point damage. Looks like the ASF's coming to try to block it, and a chunk of ASFs, as I say that, get taken out. And I think that shot would have actually taken out the satellite emplacement, but it doesn't even matter because it gets headshotted by that emissary. So all 3 satellites are down. All that Team 1 has left to bear is an emissary that's about to finish and 2 nukes that haven't even loaded yet. One is a little bit further along, of course, because that was the first one built. 46 minutes on the clock here. Team 2 is starting to run away with it. Mass income now at 1.6. Makes me think there's some power issues, maybe? No? No power issues. I don't know. Oh, maybe it was reclaim related. That's how they got the 2,000. That's possibly what it was. Donut is looking like it's inside the mountain there. Looked like it was actually further in. That's just the shadow it's being cast. But here comes Team 1's Battlefront. He control Ks. He's pretty much thinking that the game's already over for him. His air grid is not doing super well. Shield comes back online to protect those nukes. Team 1 is left with Drimmer and Chicken. And that donut is inbound ever so slowly. There is a lot of AA that has been built, though, by Drimmer. So it's not going to be an easy pass-through. There's a 23 AA. I thought there was actually a lot more than that, but maybe not. I don't see any A on T3. Oh, there's a couple. Not a lot, but there's a few. I don't know if it'll be enough to stop a donut, but we'll see. It looks like Emissary Fire has now started to focus on the disrupt... No. Yeah, it looks like the Disruptor is what it's targeting. The SMD would be a nice choice, of course, but there's also 2 backup SMDs, and they're being loaded as we speak, so not really that feasible. I don't like that the E storages are next to an artillery piece. I don't like that. Don't like it. It also looks like there's a missing... oh, that would be the shield, but needs another shield right about there. And another one, and another one, and another one. Oh, see, now the shields around that emissary are down. Looks like if Team 1 gets a nice little lucky shot in there. Looks like they're targeting this position, and all the engineers are assisting the shield. Second donut is inbound. Second emissary is being built. Second disruptor is being built. Shields are starting to hold for Team 2, so no real worry there. In the northeast, not really a lot has happened. Reclaiming, of course. Lots of crabs being built by Chicken, which is great, but again, it's going to take a long time to affect any sort of things down here. And with the hordes of ASF online, 440, Team 2 has firm air control. And, of course, the artillery is starting to take its toll a little bit on Team 1. 49 minutes almost on the clock here. Artillery and artillery. Yep, there's 2 more being built. once the other two come online, that's a game for sure for Team 2. More T3 shields are being built. Not really needed anymore. I mean, the artillery is concerning, but with the satellites offline, it's not that much of a concern. Having that much shielding, it's always nice to have, as I always say, but in a one artillery installation case, not really a huge issue. More and more shields being added by Tantal. Love to see this. And we see his own artillery replacements being built. So 3 potential artilleries are going to come online here shortly, which that's 5 versus 1. So not great in terms of the numbers. Nuke is about to load. There's a lot of assistance on the shielding to keep those alive. I feel like more engineers should be devoted for launching nukes, but that's just me. Another SMD has been built. Of course, this is the main one. There's 2 being spam loaded as we speak. They were just built moments ago, so they're just going to take a while to load. What are your artilleries firing at? Oh, they should be firing at the... Are they not firing at the same thing? At least I thought they were. Donuts are actually moving into the northeast. Look at this sandwich stack of some donuts. That was some interesting engagements there. We saw like essentially a Big Mac. You have the bun, and the bun with all the stuff in between them. Yeah, having a bunch of mountains kind of makes the positioning of units interesting. Lots of ASFs just coasting around them. Look at that, lasers firing. Here they come. They're inbound for that crab. That's a not fun crab. Look how tall that laser is. It's just slowly going back into resting position. My artillery ready. Target. Target the artillery from Team 1 or target the nukes. Those would be the 2 things that I would go after if I were any of them. Probably the artillery first so you can stop dealing with stuff shooting at you, but if the SMD situation is concerned, target the artillery, the nukes, because 1 artillery isn't bad to deal with. It's not, because you don't want anything firing at you, but 1 is better than 12 or 2. But I think it just might be a little bit of a slow crawl to victory for either team. Shields are starting to capitulate, though, for the air grid. Second artillery emplacement is almost online. Storm Lantern says, target the artillery. Tantal says, okay, well, with 3 donuts online, slowly eating away at the ASFs, time is now. This might be the final move of the game. 3 Colossi down here for protection. Donuts are inbound. ASFs are called in to intercept the donuts. They're going to be eaten alive. The ASFs, do they even engage the donuts? I don't know. The shields are actually holding on the donuts. Oh, no. 1 is down. 2 is down. There goes 1. 1 donut's about to fall. The other 2 donuts move in to intercept the artillery. And the shields, of course, on them are starting to collapse. Second artillery just barely got online. Chunk of the air grid for the UEF side of things is down. And there goes 1 of the emissaries. Looks like the donut actually got hit by friendly fire artillery. But it doesn't even matter because crash damage is a thing, especially with a donut. And now the nukes are the target. And unfortunately, the nuke might actually be saved by the inertia from the crash, which, yes, is the occurrence. But here we go. That is a very, very high up donut. And that donut's going straight for that nuke complex. And I don't... Oh, let's see. How's the crash damage look? Nope. It actually almost does a full 180 flip. The shields are down, but the nuke silos them. Oh, 85 hit points is very close. But it's not bad. Unfortunately, the emissaries for Team 1's Drummer are offline. And it's just that huge amount of ASFs that RNA is just keeping in position is just nuts. Oh, and there they go. And the nukes are gone. Just took a couple of shots. That probably is the game right there. Team 1 has a couple of crabs up here, but 3 crabs versus all of the everything that Team 2 has is not going to do a whole lot, in my opinion. Colossi down the middle here from Tantal. And Tantal, I mean, they're not doing super great with that FAF boy firing at them, but those 2 Colossi are down. Actually, Emissary helps quite a bit. Essentially headshots that Colossus. Colossus inbound. One of them is down. Looks like they're going for the comm. If they can see the comm. I don't know if they can see the comm. They can't see the comm. Laser has been activated. Crash damage actually might not help keep that comm's health alive. Maybe we'll get out of range of the crash damage. Nope, it does take a hit. Second Colossus is down. Sorry, third Colossus is down. Excuse me. Donut is inbound. Donut, again, does not... actually, it does have radar and sonar. It does not have Omni. And that Donut is going to take out all of the everything. Colossus might actually be spotting that... yep, Team 2 can see it. There's some spy planes, I would assume, overhead. That Donut is going to crash land on the comm. The comm can't go anywhere. That is a kill. Ooh, that was on purpose for sure. One player left remaining. That is Drimmer. Colossus in the middle of his base. Not feeling super well about that. It might be the end here for Team 1 if you're rooting for Team 1. If you're rooted for Team 2, looks like you were right this game. 54 minutes, and there goes Drimmer. Control Case ends the match in favor of Team 2. Good job, Team 2. You did a very, very good job. Team 1 did as well, of course, but I think it just came down to Team 2 just produced so much more stuff, and just that's what Team 2 had, just so much more stuff. I feel like at the point where those Colossi came in earlier in the middle from Team 2, like those 3 or 4 Colossi, whatever it was, if Team 1 maybe turned that into a game ender or something, or just spammed out nukes maybe with them, with all that mass, maybe it would have turned the tide in favor of Team 1, but they went with other things. Again, the play of the game, or the moment of the game, was the fact that the chicken comm just did not die. I don't know why. It had 200 hit points left. I just don't know why he survived, but he survived nonetheless. So, again, hats off to Chicken for somehow surviving that, but he does not survive a UEFO to the face. Does not survive that. But, again, thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see all of you in the next one.